Today, I'm going to show you guys how easy it is to etch a glass plate from the Dollar Tree. So today we are using the Beginner's Christmas Craft Bundle. It is only $16 with over $180 worth of value. Lots of good stuff. So if you guys are just now getting into Cricut and you guys want to get into those HTV and those adhesive vinyl projects, I highly recommend that you guys snag this holiday season. So this is going to cover you guys, whether you guys are a beginner or a pro. This is going to give you guys tons of really fun projects for this holiday season. So the one that we are using out of this bundle today is going to be this one right here. And what I've done is I've chose the one that says Merry Christmas, so that way we can put this around the brim of the plate. So we're going to try this a few different ways. So hopefully what I have planned in my mind is going to work good, because we're going to do the wet method to really smooth that down. So let me go ahead and show you how we're going to make it. What you're going to need for etching your glass is some of this Armor Etch right here. You can get this in small or big bottles, but what's really cool about this product is you can take off the excess and put it back into the container when you're done. So don't wipe it all off and throw it in the trash, because you can definitely reuse this over and over again. So a small bottle will last you a long time. So I've got a plate from the Dollar Tree. This is just a clear plate. Now I was going to etch the back side of this plate, but if you want to do the back side, you definitely want to mirror, because when you flip your plate over, you want to be able to see. So hopefully you guys can see that there. That would actually be wrong. We would need it to go in this direction right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and etch the front side of this plate very carefully. So we could definitely use this for a little platter to put some cookies and all that. But before you do it, make sure you guys run it through the dishwash, really wash it very, very well to make sure you remove any excess of your materials as well as your etching cream. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. So what I'm actually going to do with this design here is I'm going to apply the transfer tape first, and then we're going to separate it. So I'm going to cut off the middle part and then do the outside, so that way I can get those into two separate pieces. We're going to go ahead and take some transfer tape here. I've got a brand new roll. You guys know that I've been using that one forever, and so it looks like it's just really thick to me today. So I've got just some adhesive vinyl here, and so we're going to go ahead and pick this up. Now, in case you're wondering, why didn't I already separate this ahead of time and then apply adhesive vinyl? Because then I would have had to cut down a small piece and then a big piece. I'd have been wasting, where I can cut this and I don't have to try to cut down a small piece and then a big piece. You're just gonna save materials. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that squeegee and we're gonna really rub this down to get it to adhere to the transfer. All right, so now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and trim off the excess, and then I'm gonna go ahead and cut out the middle. I want to adhere this piece first, so you can see that it's a little bit silly, a little bit wonky, but what I'm going to attempt to do is I'm going to spray my plate and get it nice and wet. Now I'm using rubbing alcohol, but you could definitely use water, so this is what you call a wet method. So something that we can do, and I'm thinking about doing, is finding one with a nice gap, because you don't want to cut into this, because we don't want our etching cream to get on any sort of open place. So I see this has a little bit more room, so I'm going to cut in the middle. So this is just going to give us a little bit more room to work with. And honestly, I could even find another, it looks like I possibly have a tiny gap here, so I could potentially get this one down and then get this one down. It's just gonna help them lay flat, nice. And honestly, I don't even think I need the wet method for that. So if you were gonna do a wet method, you'd wanna get your plate nice, just spray it down, don't soak it, but make sure it's really, really wet. And that's gonna allow you just to kind of move and wiggle those around. But I think from where I've cut those in half, everything's gonna be okay. So let's go ahead and remove our backing and start getting it down. What I'm going to go ahead and do is cut this one off very carefully. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and get down our middle piece. All right, so at this point, we're going to go ahead and really rub it in, because we want to make sure that the adhesive vinyl is on here really well, so that way none of our etching cream can go underneath. All right, so I've decided to try to move this guy down just a little bit, because he's really out of place up there. So I've just kind of scooted that down. All right, so now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go around here and remove all of the transfer tape. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take that etching cream. I'm using a paintbrush here, and we're gonna do a dabbing motion. You don't wanna do a swiping, because you don't want it to go up underneath there. Now, before you get started, you may even wanna go back with your fingers to really push and make sure that everything is down you don't have any air bubbles, and then that you are good to go. All right, so another thing is I do have a glove on the hand that I'm working with, and then what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna go ahead and apply this, like I said, nice and thick. So if you feel like you're gonna get out of line at all on your plate, go ahead and cover up any open spaces with some painter's tape. So I'm gonna go ahead and speed this up and get this whole thing covered. Normally, if I wasn't trying to record this or teach it, I would have this outside on my back patio, out on the back deck, on the ground, whatever you wanted to do, but I would definitely do this project outside. Like I said, you really want to be in a nice, well-ventilated area. And then on top of that, the longer you let this sit, the deeper the etch. So you don't want to just leave it for 30 minutes, walk away and come back. You want to make sure and come back every few minutes, so maybe every 5 to 10 minutes, come by and pounce and move pieces around. And that will move pieces that have already etched and get further down into the areas that have not etched. Like you're gonna get down into layer after layer. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep going. Now these plates would make a great gift, or whether you're making them for yourself, you could grab these plates even at somewhere like a Goodwill, you know, a secondhand store, the yard sales and things like that. Maybe you even have some glass plates in the cabinet. You can do this on color. As long as it's glass, you are good to go. So you can do it on some baking dishes, you can do it on glasses. Now you can see I'm using a lot of material, but once again, all of this is going to go back into the container. Now I would recommend that you do it on the back side, so make sure you mirror your design and do it on the back side, because you don't have to worry about whenever you eat on this, or if you use it, like I said, to put cookies. So with doing it on the top, I honestly would probably do that for like a decor piece, but if you put it on the back side, you are gonna be good to go because no food can come in contact with it. You do not need to seal this with anything. You are gonna be good to go once it is washed. All right, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm just going to scrape the excess off into the container. So as you can see, when I started this, I've got a piece of parchment paper under here. You can use freezer paper, you know, copy paper, whatever you want to do, wrapping paper, anything that you can get underneath this to protect your surface. And then you can lay your brush aside, because I'm going to use that same brush here in a minute to scrape all of this off. It may be a little bit easier too if you have an old, say for example, a gift card that's no longer in use. You can use that to really scrape all of that excess and get it back in here. Now when we go to scrape this, we do want to be careful not to get it on the exposed glass, because it will etch it. So if you are scared at all that you're going to do that, make sure you cover all of that exposed area with tape, and then you're going to be good to go. So we're going to let this set. Like I said, I'll come back in. Like this stuff has already been here for a little bit, so I will actually start to move these pieces around. So I'll just kind of start back at the beginning and work my way all the way around. And so if you do this, so I'm probably going to let my plate set between 15 and 30 minutes. And so if you start back at the beginning of where you started and you're just tapping it around. So like I said, some etching that's already going on, you're moving that out of the way and you're letting it get into some fresh. It's almost like digging in the dirt, if that makes sense. All right, so we are ready to remove everything. So I'm just gonna go ahead and go carefully, picking it up like this. I'm just using that same paintbrush, and I'm just gonna go ahead and put that right back inside the container. All right, just like that, we've got all that back in the container. I'm gonna place the lid back on. Now what I'm gonna do is since I'm in the craft room, I don't recommend this. This is just what I'm gonna do so I can get it over to my sink, is I'm gonna go ahead and take a couple baby wipes here and start to wipe off all of that excess. This is something too though, if you wanted to, just make sure you be safe using gloves and stuff, keep it off of the glass, because you can accidentally etch that. Like I just got some there, remove it as quickly as possible. So this is gonna keep a lot of this out of my sink. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and quickly take this to my sink and wash it with a little bit of Dawn dish soap, then remove the vinyl. So don't remove the vinyl until it's completely washed. So I have completely washed my plate. Now make sure when you go to wash this that you do have gloves on both hands until you have completely washed everything off. Use a little bit of, you know, dishwashing soap to really wash everything off. Once everything's off, I then turn on the hot water. So do that cold. Rinse it all off with a little bit of soap, make sure every bit of that is off. I take the hot water on the hottest settings, and that will help peel all of that adhesive vinyl off. So once we're back over here, you can see we've got a couple small pieces. I'm gonna use a little weeding tool to remove the excess. And there you guys have it. How amazing is this? I think you guys can see it in this direction a whole lot better. It is so gorgeous. But like I said, I would definitely recommend that you etch on the back side. So when you do, please remember to mirror so that way you can see through here perfectly, and it's all gonna go on the back side. So you can definitely fill where it's a little bit etched in here, not bad at all, but you can definitely have that fill there. You don't need to seal it with anything. It is good to go, and it's going to outlast the plate. So we're gonna bring it up here so hopefully you guys can see all of that etch. How gorgeous is that? So those snowflakes, and I just sized this out. So I measured my plate from side to side. I measured it out inside of Cricut Design Space, and then you've seen I cut it all out together and then separated them just to make it a little bit easier to apply it on the plate. And I think that is so gorgeous. So now we have turned a dollar plate, well technically $1.25 now, into a plate that looks like it's worth around $15 or so. This would be perfect, like I said, to place your cookies on for Santa, or if you were having a Christmas party to put some of those Christmas snacks, maybe even at the office. It would make a great gift, another great item to sell. You be the judge of what you want to do with your etch plate. So you guys let me know in the comments below, have you guys tried etching any sort of glass? If you have, please let me know, was it successful? What did you etch? And if you haven't, let me know if you guys are going to try this project out. So I love this one. Once again, definitely make sure you guys snag that bundle because it is totally worth it. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I hope you guys have found some inspiration along the way and maybe learned something new. If you did, please hit the like button down below and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one.